I think we all know better than anyone that organizations mess up, right? Because they're filled with people. They're filled with people. And so that's what being human's about. Fucking up. Organizations, companies, they're messy, right? Because they are filled with human beings. But let me share with you all something that a friend of mine, shared with me that happened at their annual huge award gala, right? So this friend, every year they have to drag themselves, as does the rest of the organization, to some big global annual, awards night, leadership thing, whatever, right? And it's great having, the entire company together and everyone's patting themselves on the back and they're celebrating people, which is the right thing to do, right? You want to celebrate people and highlight people. And, you know, you talk about just key accomplishments. Maybe you talk a little bit about the next year too, right? I mean, but so that cohesiveness is fantastic. So every year they go to this thing, and they were sharing that a couple of years ago, they went, and the company had been doing layoffs throughout the year. So they even assumed it wasn't even going to happen. Like, why spend money on that big event?
Exactly.
And all that team building when the team's kind of deflated, and oh gosh, you could have saved thousands of jobs, right? Instead of having a big shindig in some other city and all that travel expense and whatnot. But anyway, they did end up putting it on. And, per usual, they go around and, they're doing awards, and different groups get awards, individuals get awards. They come with big fat bonuses, you name it, right? And so
Ooh, yeah,
they're having just the time of their lives. They're drinking it up and eating it up. And then, they get to a certain award. I can't remember what it was, right? They're like, okay, and the winner of this award is Jerry. I just made up a name. I don't remember who the person's name, but, they name a team member. The room kind of gets silent. Like, there's kind of this awkwardness in the air. The person's up on stage, probably the CEO, who knows?
No.
And they're like, Jerry, you out there?
Oh, God.
Like, because of course the whole company's supposed to be there.
Is Jerry taking a shit?
Yeah, where's Jerry? Where the hell is Jerry? Because he's our top performer in marketing or whatever, right? Whatever function it was. Like, he is the guy.
No.
He is the guy. He's incredible, right? And my friend looks to Jerry's team's table, and some folks are crying. Some people are mad. Someone yells out, You fired Jerry earlier this year. You laid Jerry off, right? The person on stage can't hear that. There's like, where's Jerry? But the rest of the org knows this poor guy was freaking laid off in like the 5th round of layoffs that year.
No.
Their top performer or whatever, who's being called up for an award for like $20,000 or who knows, right? Was just severed and got chump change a few months ago. But he's the best. What the hell? Awkward, right? So all of a sudden, just the slide flips. The leader up there, blinded by the lights, can't hear people calling from the audience. Is just like, oh, well, I guess Jerry's not able to be with us tonight. Awkward. Yeah, because your ass laid him off. Awkward.
Yeah, he wasn't invited.
Yeah, he was not invited.
No. So someone's FaceTiming Jerry's like, how much is it? How much is it? I'll FaceTime. You have my mailing address. Send the check.
What the hell? And my friend's like, don't you think you should have got the money? And I'm like, well, technically he wasn't an employee. I mean, but that is like insult to injury, right? I mean, that is rude. We laid you off, but you are the best, but you're not here to see you're the best, and you don't get the money. And now we just upset your entire team. And now everybody's scared. And now we see the disconnect of leadership not even knowing like who they laid off, and they're going to reward that. What? How did that award even get up there?
That is corporate America.
It's shocking, but it's also not.
Because we're so messy.
I had something sort of similar happen to me once. They were a contractor and they were up for award. And thankfully, they sent it to me to make sure all the spelling was correct of the names.
Oh my God.
And I said, well, this person's actually a contractor. I mean, they might deserve the award, but sure enough, when we got to the award ceremony, they had removed that person.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, they don't even know their own staff.
Why did you lay off Jerry, the top guy of everything that you were willing to give an award to and celebrate?
Poor Jerry.
Literally, hashtag.
Justice for Jerry.
Oh, gosh.
Jerry's dialing in his or her employment attorney into the FaceTime. Like, look at this. Listen to this. Exhibit A.
I wonder if anyone told Jerry.
Of course they did.
Oh, I'd be like texting Jerry under my table, like, Jerry.
Would have taken a photo. Here's the award you won.
Let me tell you this. I'll watch a game show. That's fine. They're kind of all played out. The game show I would watch is who texted Jerry first. How long did that take? I mean, name that tune. 3 seconds, 1 second. I can text real fast. I'd move to the quickest I've ever would move to be to flag that to Jerry. You wouldn't believe this.
With the photo of the slide.
Totally. That picture. Click, click.
And the leader, Jerry, where are you? Jerry, where are you? You laid him off. You fired Jerry.
And then they can't hear. So they're like, what? Oh, I guess he's not.
Slide flips. Oh, I guess Jerry's not able to join us. Well, no shit. You fired Jerry.
Leigh, I will say this so when we record the podcast, and hopefully for those, as you're listening to it, you find it entertaining, informative. We have the newsletter to help bring training questions to your team, make it real comprehensive. It is also exercise for me, at least, because I now, deep below everything else, have developed a little lab hiding in there somewhere from cringing and laughing from this story, Leigh. So thank you. Thank your friend, really. That is, woo.
Right? Shout out to them. Gosh, and all they've had to endure. Poor Jerry. Yeah, hashtag justice for the number. Jerry. Oh, gosh. And that's some shit. So, yeah, organizations are messy. They are very, very messy. Oh, gosh, people.
If you work in HR, you want fewer headaches, not more. So what if you had a bestie to help you with that? And I don't just mean the HR Besties podcast. I mean Equifax. You may be thinking, Equifax? The credit bureau? And that's what most people think. But Equifax actually has a full suite of HR solutions designed to make your life a whole lot easier. Equifax is like a cup of tea on a stressful day. But instead of calming chamomile, they help you with things that actually keep you up at night. I-9s, ACA, never-ending HR forms. It makes the whole employee experience better for your teams, including your HR teams. If just hearing words like compliance or onboarding makes your head hurt, Equifax is the bestie you didn't know you needed. They'll help you handle risks, keep you out of HR hot water, and clear clutter off your desk to get back to what really matters, supporting your people. So if you're ready to ditch the drama and create an employee experience that feels great from start to finish, give Equifax a peek. Head to equifax.com/HR to learn more.
Long gone are the days of waiting to be seen in a doctor's office only to have that awkward conversation with your healthcare provider. Wisp gives you access to sexual and reproductive healthcare from the comfort of your home. Get treatment for BV, yeast infections, UTIs, and much more delivered directly to your home or ready for pickup at your local pharmacy in less than 3 hours. The best part? Wisp is discreet, convenient, and you don't need medical insurance to receive care or prescription medication. Visit us today at hellowisp.com.
Shall we jump in? Do a quick rundown of the agenda for today?
Is Jerry joining us today?
I know.
Guest starring Jerry to tell his side. Could you imagine? That'd be great. Oh, gosh. Next up is Cringe Corporate Speak, and Jamie's going to tackle that today for us. And then we're going to shift into our meeting hot topic, something that all rude, I was going to say, I hope Jerry hears this podcast. Isn't that terrible? Because it's how to get promoted and some career advice straight from HR experts and pros, which we're calling ourselves those things today. That'll be fun. We'll just kind of share some random bits of advice there. And then, as always, some questions and comments to close us out at the end. Jamie, what do you got?
Hit the ground running.
Ooh.
Yeah. So now I know I'm definitely guilty of using this one. Probably not frequent, but frequently enough that it's cringe. And I always used it in the sense of onboarding, right? Like, I want to make sure we get that remote employee their laptop and it's working and Teams is installed and they can hit the ground running. So I know I've used it, sadly.
Leigh, have you used it? Have you heard it?
I've heard it a lot. I don't think it's like in my, database of cringe. Personally, I'm sure I have, like what Jamie's saying. That's the perfect example, right? Well, we want them to hit the ground running, but I don't think there's cringier things. But I will share that I'm a shit runner. I'm like turtle in molasses. So I really do believe in a warm up.
Yeah.
Like I love a good warm up walk. Like, why can't I just slowly get to the running? And then even when I do run, it's going to be shitty, just for the record. Thoughts, Ashley?
What would you run, like a mile in or a 5K in, you think?
My mile is like 12 minutes.
Okay.
You're like, okay, shit. Damn.
No, it's not.
Like,
no.
and I've done like 60 half marathons. I've done a couple marathons. But here's the thing about me. I'm slow as fuck, and I'm not even kidding. Like, go find my times to my marathons or whatever. I'm sure you can Google that shit. You know what I mean? I'm slow. My marathon is like 4 hours. I don't know. It's something ridiculous.
That's amazing.
Is that good? No, 6 hours. Shit. Yeah, 4 is good, right? No, it's like 6 hours. Okay. Like I got that. Maybe that was my half.
Oh, trust me, finishing anything is amazing. I will say this.
But here's the thing is that I can keep going. I have, what is that? Endurance? I bet I could do ultras. I bet I could do 50 mile. I'm not even kidding. Because when I hit 26, I'm like, good. It's weird.
Yeah.
Anyways, so about this, do you hit the ground running, Ashley?
Well, I do. And I am probably the opposite in that I try to run fast. I was just thinking, I don't know what my mile time would be now. It's certainly not what it was when I played like field hockey and was, working towards it. But I do get kind of like try to run fast. And then I'm like, ooh, and then I get tired. That's kind of how I run and live my life. But so I was just thinking about that. What about you, Jamie?
Well, for everyone else who listens to this podcast who doesn't know what they run in a mile, you're with me. Have no fucking clue and actually don't want to know. To be honest. I wonder, you should look this up, Ashley. What is the historical use of this?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, you know what? I actually already looked it up for you. Because I was curious.
That was quick.
Okay. The literal use of the phrase saw the light of day sometime towards the end of the 19th century. Well, okay. An early citation of it was found in a whimsical story, which was syndicated in several newspapers. And it just took off from there. And it was about a run.
I also see the Pony Express, where riders have to quickly transition to a fresh horse. Those poor horses. Being from Kentucky, I'm very sensitive to that. And so, we don't need our mail that fast. To that point, so I would say this, agree. I've definitely said it. I've definitely heard it. I've probably talked now to that phrase. I generally say like, okay, well, what does that mean? And it's important. If you're saying that in onboarding, it's important to talk about that in interviewing and what people are expected to do to like hit the ground running. What are you expected to be able to do on day one? When will you learn? How much time do you have? And actually talk about those specifics. And that's the step that I don't see happen enough. So that is a question that we are going to put in our weekly newsletter.
And I do like it as like, when you think of it as being prepared.
Yes.
Like more of a preparedness thing as versus like just going fast for the hell of it, if that makes sense. It does in my mind.
I feel like you'll hear leaders and like well into their career as they've seen things and they're like, I've realized now it really takes a year, 2 years to really get to know your role and organization and all these things. And they have this reflection. And you're like, wow, what are you taking away with that information? And they're like, we still want new hires to be able to like deliver. Mm-hmm. I just think like, sometimes you want to give people a little bit of a warm blanket to get started. And so just saying like, we want you to be ready, but you don't have to jump in here and do things. We want you to learn and things like that. And I do think people can have more endurance and longevity, to Leigh's point, if you don't expect them to be a jackrabbit out of the gate and like prove themselves right away, which is how people often feel.
But you should set them up for success and make sure they're prepared.
Totally. That's the best thing to do.
Hit the ground running.
That includes a partnership between HR, IT, hiring manager.
Ooh, all of the above.
All of the above.
Oh, well, speaking of, career success and success at work. We have some tips and tricks, advice, personal experience stories, you name it, right? From our cheap seats here in the HR function on how to get promoted at work. Where to start? Where to start? Best advice you all have received, you think, that has helped you get promoted at work?
I would say do not have sex with your boss.
Well, it works at first. It's going to get you promoted, right? But
Yes.
I don't know how long you're going to stay there. Don't go to any concerts.
Yeah, don't go to concerts.
Yeah, don't go to concerts. And also, you're making yourself very beholden to your boss's career. And so if something happens to that, you're going to be out the window.
Well, I think also you have to know what your success is to you, because I think it's different for everyone as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's really step one, is really what do you want to do? And let me be honest too, with the last 21 years, I think who I want to be when I grew up has changed. My idea of success has changed. And I don't even mean in the social media realm, podcast realm. I mean like in, my career, my corporate view has changed a lot. So my success is different than what it was when I got out of college.
Say more. I'd love to hear you give specifics on that.
Yeah. So my degree is in human resource, specifically in training. So I really wanted to be a corporate trainer. I ended up in benefits straight out of college because that's the first job I could find. I actually really liked benefits, but I was like, no, I want a more general role. So my whole career shifted from wanting to just do corporate training to actually being more of knowing a little bit of everything in HR. And that's where I succeeded and excelled because I actually enjoyed it. And then I wanted to climb the corporate ladder, right? I wanted to be the chief people officer one day. And obviously, after this layoff, I don't think I want to do that anymore. I think I would prefer staying in a VP director role and not necessarily being the chief or the top, And it's not that I'm scared of that responsibility. I think I could do the job and do a job well, but it's different when looking in hindsight. I'm almost climbing down the corporate ladder now, I guess, because I've been burned.
You don't want to get close to the fire at the top. But I think that's really relatable. I mean, I think in some of that is to recognize, I totally agree, the point of knowing what a promotion and success looks like to you and putting aside what I call at times the LinkedIn test is thinking about the feeling of announcing it on LinkedIn or, your platform of choice or your internal thing. Like that's a great feeling to announce that promotion. But immediately thereafter is the realities of the job. And so just making sure that you're probably not going to be as excited for the realities of the job as announcing it, or the realities of the job ones that you're going to think, ugh. And so I do think thinking through to yourself of what does success look like? How much time do I want to be spending at work? And I am a big proponent that top leadership roles and C-suite roles should not mean sacrificing all aspects of your life to have those. I know there are people that have probably much bigger bank accounts than me that disagree, but I do think knowing that. But I think the biggest power you have, to me, in being able to choose your path is by making yourself indispensable as much as possible. And so that can depend on the roles, but the number one piece of career advice that I've gotten and that I give is when you're doing things is to be known for making other people's lives easier. And so things in a promotion, like if someone reaches out to you, for example, and asks you something, asking them, people often aren't going to give you the full context. Sometimes they will, but I have a presentation. Sometimes they just say, ask a question. But if you take that time and say, okay, but what's that for? And I want to know so I can make sure I put it in the format easiest for you. So if you're sending an email to someone, I can summarize it and just send you a draft email. You can copy and paste and make any edits. And that's one example among many. But if you do those things and ask someone, what's it for? People really tend to remember that. It doesn't take much time, but you're known as someone that just gets it, shows it. And that simple act can be something that helps you advance and be relied on more than being the person that's remembering people's birthdays, which is more the things I like doing. But I think being indispensable.
I think when we started the podcast, we really thought it was just going to be like us and our mics and our thoughts, but it was actually so much more than that. We were the editor, the producer, the social media manager, the scheduler, the graphic designer. Basically, it's a lot. And don't get me wrong, it's all very exciting. But I remember thinking, I wish there was one place we could go to at least make some of this easier. And that's exactly what Shopify is for business owners. Whether you're selling merch, launching a new product, or building your brand from scratch, Shopify is the business partner that helps you get started and keeps you going. It's like having an entire team in your corner, but one that actually knows what's going on. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e commerce in the US, from household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands that are just getting started. Get started with your own design studio with hundreds of ready to use templates. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store to match your brand style. Accelerate your content creation. Shopify is packed with helpful AI tools that help you write product descriptions, page headlines, and even enhance your product photography. Get the word out like you have a marketing team behind you. Easily create email and social media campaigns whenever your customers are scrolling or strolling. And best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing refunds and beyond. So if you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 a month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/hrbesties. Go to shopify.com/hrbesties. Shopify.com/hrbesties.
A massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, especially these days. 8 different settings, adjustable intensity, plus it's heated, and it just feels so good. Yes, a massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, but when it can come with a car, suddenly it seems quite practical. The all-new 2025 Volkswagen Tiguan, packed with premium features like available massaging front seats, it only feels extravagant.
What about you, Leigh?
Well, I think that that's a double-edged sword, though, because you can get to a spot where your boss, your team, your business, they can't, air quotes, afford to lose you in that certain role. You know what I mean? Like almost if you're too good, right? I mean, there's lots of variables at play here, but I absolutely do believe in being unique and differentiating yourself and being known for something, right? Like I know I need to go to Leigh when I need X, right? She is the expert of X. I think that that is really important, like you're saying, Ashley, to stand out in that way in the organization. I think that people that have certain attributes or really skill sets, talents that are unique, that are, missing perhaps across the organization, those people come up in conversations. Like all the talent conversations I've been in, it's, they are discussing those air quotes, high potential talents, but really, those unique talents in the organization. Oh, this person knows XYZ. No one else here has that background or that experience or that skill set. That's something that helps us be successful as a business. And so to that point, I think it is important to raise your hand when there are opportunities, to highlight that special skill set, the things you're really good at, plus really enjoy. If there's a way to do those things, perform those functions somewhere in the organization, even if it's not a part of your daily job, that really does make you stand out, right? And people do talk about that. Again, flip side, then you get people that are jealous, right? There's always going to be that. Just depends on kind of where you work, but it's better to show those things off in a healthy way, right? In a palatable way than to hide them, right? I mean, the differentiation is key to stand out, to get promoted.
It's an incredibly good point, because also if you start being known for things, a couple things. One is people will come to you for everything.
I know.
I pigeonhole myself.
Stuck in your job because you're good.
You can get stuck. And so in our episode on boundaries, if you haven't heard that, search HR Besties Boundaries, go back a bit ago. We talk about it, but how it's important to have things like boundaries. But if you're at work and you say, I have boundaries, candidly, that's probably not going to be the best way to be able to set them, because when you say things like that, that word can come across like jarring. It shouldn't always, but the reality is it does. And so part of it is not only having the skills, being known for things, but also advocating for yourself to your boss and saying like this, and saying, this is what I want, and I'm not going to have enough time to this. So I'd love to show others and teach others these things, because you can do a lot to mold your career path. And I didn't realize that, story for another day long, is I once quit a job and had to ask for it back. So I can't believe we're 6 seasons in before telling that one. But as part of it, I had to talk to the president of the company and talk about this. And part of what I said was, I don't know that I really saw a career path, because there were multiple people ahead of me, all strong and competent. And so I just didn't see that. And I assumed that. I'd never had a conversation with anybody, including my own boss in that function. And the president said, I never would have known that, because I never had any clue what your career path would be on. I'd be like, well, why would you? But that stuck out to me, that not enough people go and take initiative and things. And so if you take initiative to do that and tell people, and people that matter, what you want in your career, and you seek out those opportunities, there is a very fine line between being like aggressive and presumptive and like starting a job in one role and then going to like this president and being like, right, but I want to be CMO, or whatever. Okay, you finish orientation first. Like, you gotta have some EQ about that. But telling people what you want and then explaining the things you need to know to get there, those are some of the things that I think on top that can be helpful as well.
Absolutely. Like I had that written down as one of my key pieces of advice, is that your leader and those around you, your champions, your advocates, your sponsors, are not mind readers. And you own your career. So you actually have to communicate that you want a promotion, not in an annoying way or a threatening way, or if I don't get this promotion, you know what I mean? But just sharing where it is you want to go, right? I mean, I have like back in the day, I had career path documents, everything I had accomplished, and then where I saw myself wanting to go. I did career mapping, all these things, the visual, as I talk through that. But being very open about that is important. Being open about if you don't want a promotion, or if you want a lateral, or if you want to try a different function, or if you want to, whatever it is, right? But just be open about what you want to do for a living, I think is really, really important, especially, again, if you're wanting to be promoted. But your leader, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be like, thank you so much for taking the guesswork out of it and making this easier on me, because I've got 20 people reporting to me. I also have my day job. This helps, having a very, open, honest conversation with you. And now, okay, yeah, I can submit you for XYZ, or yes, you need that training to accomplish that. Now I know the answers. Thank you. So it actually makes it easier on a leader. I love it when my people have their shit together like that and could just be like, here's what I want. And then I'm like reflecting, oh yeah, because you are good at that. Or, hey, have you thought about XYZ too? What if we did this training? What if we did this certification? Oh, right? All those, then you could have really robust conversations that could really benefit you better.
I think it's also important for the leaders to also ask too. Like, don't be scared to ask. I mean, I am thankful that even early in my career, I had leaders that asked me and they became mentors, because I don't think I even was 100% sure what I wanted to be or what I wanted to do next. Switching here, I think another thing that I've heard in all my years in HR is, well, I'm good at my job, so I should be promoted. And I don't think that actually equals just because you're really good at your role means that you're going to be promoted. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about like in a leader role or a people leader role or people manager role. But just because you're good at your job, I think it takes more than that. Are we problem solving? Have you looked at something that maybe you guys are doing manually and said, you know what, we can do this better? Or there's so much more to it than just doing your one role well. And I think that is the thing that I've heard from employees. Like, well, I do my job really good and I'm the highest performer. But what other skills do you possess? Or what else have you done for your department or the team of folks that you're on, you know what I mean? Not just because you might be the go-to for your team to ask questions.
For those that get the newsletter, which is all of you now listening to this, if you go to hrbesties.com, you can get it. We do include questions and things like this. And now we also include ChatGPT prompts of the week, which sometimes are really fun. Like, which HR bestie would you be? Which was a fun one. I got myself, thankfully. But but in this, that is a question I actually think is helpful. And I often tell people, ChatGPT isn't a substitute for, super in-depth career coaching, but people that are listening and thinking like my budget is zero for that, or other people that, a lot of times when you're asking someone, even if you're asking the three of us, like we have our biases and backgrounds and all the things. ChatGPT has, certainly has its own biases, but can be relatively objective. It's not your family member that cares about things. It can be objective. And so I do think, Jamie, that's such a great question. That's what we'll put in our ChatGPT prompt of the week about that prompt. And now I've just framed it, but you'll have to go look at our newsletter to see how I'm putting that, but to get tips on how to do that.
But no, I agree with you, Jamie. It's not, hey, you're ready to be promoted. The conversation really should be, okay, so then are you ready to learn something else? Are you ready to do something else?
And do you want to do that?
Yeah, do you even want to?
Like if you feel you've maxed out the learning in your role, So, and it's what's next, not you're getting automatically promoted because you're good at what you're doing in that particular role. Because what's above you, what you're doing now may not even be relevant to that. So you won't even be set up for success.
I'm sure all three of us have seen that too, where the person who did their job well got promoted and then they failed.
Every time.
And it wasn't necessarily that they wouldn't be a good leader but no one prepared them. They didn't, hit the ground running. No one prepared them for that promotion or what that new job was going to look like or what it entailed. And so they set them up for failure, essentially.
That is literally every single one of my calls. But for like manager method, when I have people reach out every single time, we have people that were promoted, they're put in like, they just were never given the training. And I'm like, well, and they're like all sheepish. And I'm like, no, you and 99% of organizations, but let's fix that.
You have to have deeper, smarter conversations about the purpose of promotions. They should not be automatic. Hello. And then people that are forced to be promoted because they want to get paid more, but they don't even want to do that job. Like all the drums.
So, you're about to make a trade based on a friend's text. But which you do you listen to? Is it, we could buy a house in Tulum? Get optioning those options. We could lose everything. Or, let's do a little research. Get your head in the trade and make the investment decision that's right for you. Learn more at finra.org/trade-smart.
This episode is brought to you by Marshalls, where you never have to compromise between quality and price. The buyers at Marshalls hustle hard, working to bring you great deals on brand name and designer pieces. Because Marshalls believes everyone deserves access to the good stuff. Visit a Marshalls store near you or shop online at marshalls.com.
Any other career advice, ladies, on getting promoted? I've got one. The relationship with your manager really matters. I talk a lot about this in my content, but really it's the leader in the majority of organizations, your direct manager, that's pushing for promotions for their team members. They're sponsoring that, they're advocating for it, they're fighting for it, whatever the process is in the organization. So a healthy relationship with your leader it's a big piece of it. I think it's a bigger piece than your own performance. I'll be honest, just with the politics and humanness in the workplace, right? Because if you're promoted, you're going to be your boss's colleague. And then one day you may be your boss's boss. So if they don't like you, why the hell would they promote you and then end up working for you one day? I'm just saying, human behavior, right? Psychology. So that matters.
Don't be scared to ask questions and start building those cross-functional relationships with people to understand your role on a bigger scale and how your job or the team that you're under affects the whole company and how you can improve it. And I think that's really important too, that I unintentionally was building relationships with people just because I was just curious, to be completely honest. And I think that helped me too in my career. But I've seen it help other people too, just being naturally curious.
But you've seen it, because then you've seen exactly the scenario that can happen is sometimes a promotion is not going to be within your organization. It's going to be somebody that you built that connection with, most often your manager, but also cross-functional people. They join a new organization that's awesome, and they're in a conversation, they're in a room that you're not in, and they're asking, they say, oh, I know this person. And they come to you because of and you don't realize how much that impacted. We've probably all had that.
Love. Well, I hope Jerry listened to some of that.
Bless.
Justice for Jerry.
I know, justice for Jerry. Questions and comments to close this out, ladies? What do y'all got?
I have a comment, which is that a promotion should not be required to be a manager role, meaning that you should be able to get a promotion, get more money, get a higher title at work without having to manage people. I do think a manager's role is incredibly important. Having a manager that can lead growth matters, but too often it's this expectation of that's the only path, and people never have, whether it's an expert path, which an expert path can be someone that just works in isolation and they do their thing, they keep doing their thing. That can be somebody that trains other people, but they're not managing those other people. And so organizations that think of just, up or out, this is it, this is this set path, and along that, you're going to lose people along the way that could have been the biggest change drivers in your organization. And you're going to spend more money and you're going to lose more money if you end up requiring people to manage people as part of the ability to make more money or stay with your organization.
Introduce tracks, grow up. Come on, damn. I'm with you. I've got a comment, not a question. I've received a lot of advice through my career from people. One of my favorite pieces of advice was from a mentor of mine that says, that told me, you can have it all, you just can't have it all at the same time. And I love that, however you choose to interpret it, but it is so true. It also reminds me to just enjoy the ride as well. There really is no end. Like, we are all constantly becoming. We are all constantly growing and developing. The second you achieve that promotion, trust me, there's going to be something else you want, right? So, just know that if you don't get the promotion, there'll be the next opportunity. And if you do get the promotion, well, be careful what you wish for, right? So again, we are all evolving and becoming, and just enjoy it. Enjoy the process.
Yeah. And my final thought is just never stop believing in yourself. Corporate, honestly, sadly can be very cutthroat. And sometimes you just have to have the confidence of a white man.
Mic drop.
I thought you were just going to say, don't stop believing. And I was thinking, like a good wedding, This episode will end with Journey. So
I also had a colleague tell me, if you have an issue, just throw money at it. So, also be careful who you take advice from, I guess.
So does that mean to pay people off to get promoted? And it's we've given a few outside the box strategies in this episode.
Yeah, if nothing else, cash. Just throw it. Good luck with those promotions, besties.
Hi, I'm Tamsin Fidel, journalist and author of How to Menopause and host of The Tamsin Show, a weekly podcast with your roadmap to midlife and beyond. We cover it all, from dating to divorce, aging to ADHD, sleep to sex, brain health to body fat, and even how perimenopause can affect your relationships. And trust me, it can. Each week, I sit down with doctors, experts, and leaders in longevity for unfiltered conversations packed with advice on everything from hormones to happiness. And of course, how to stay sane during what can be, well, let's face it, a pretty chaotic chapter of life. Think of us as your midlife survival guide. New episodes released every Wednesday. Listen now on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.